I am so excited. I hope people are joining now as we go live. I'm Lydia Desnoyers, CPA, founder of the CPA Business Advisory. And I have been looking forward to this day for weeks now. Have amazing panel of guest speakers. This is the very first episode of my new webinar series, Put Lyd On It. And today we're talking about mothers in business, work-life integration, and I have three amazing speakers with me today. So we have Marlene Markowitz, who has two amazing kids, or tech nerds, as she calls them. We have Jamila Powell with her 8-year-old entrepreneur in the making. And we have Juana Jones of Jolly Creatives with her wonderful 2-year-old affectionate and rambunctious 2-year-old boy. So we're so happy to have everybody on here. Hopefully people are able to log on and post your comments and your questions. We want this to be a very open discussion about being a mother and an entrepreneur. And so I'm so excited to do this today because Mother's Day is right around the corner. So it's perfect. We're going to celebrate our mothers and especially our mothers in business. And I'm so excited to have our speakers. This is very special for me as I embark on my journey to motherhood. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. And so I'm going to welcome our guests onto our screen so they can share a few words about themselves. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. Words cannot express how excited and happy I am to have you on here. So we'll start with Juana. Juana, tell us a little bit about yourself, your work-life integration or balance, and, did you start about your business and about being a mother? Let's start with you.
Hi, ladies. Hi, everyone. So my name is Juana Jones. I am a mom of one, as Lydia mentioned. I started my business 5 years ago. So before I was a mother, my son is 2.5. And so our business focuses on storytelling for women of color. We do digital marketing for women of color in business. And yeah, we've been around for 5 years. It gets very, very busy. One of the biggest things for me has been having a village. So having supportive family. My husband's also an entrepreneur. So we have really been very intentional about how we've set our life up so that it's conducive to having time with our little one, but time to run and grow our businesses.
Beautiful. Jamila, tell us a little bit about your organization and being a mom.
Okay, well, my name's Jamila Powell. Thank you for having me. I am a full-time attorney. I run a salon called Maggie Rose Salon. I've had it since 2013. It's named after my 8-year-old Magnolia Rose. And if you can see the junk behind me, I recently launched a hair care line called Naturally Drenched. So needless to say, I am beyond busy. Magnolia's she's been the reason why, she was the reason why I started the salon and really pushed forward being an entrepreneur. And I just love it. I love having her by my side. She's my little sidekick, and she's grown up knowing, loving, and understanding business.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing. And I actually know Magnolia, and she's so sweet. And we're going to get to that in a little bit about her being the reason that you started your business and are pushing really hard. So Marlene, tell us a little bit about what you do, your organization, and being a mom.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. This is awesome, and it's great to be on here with these lovely ladies. I am Marlene Markowitz, founder of Marlene Markowitz Law Offices. We are an immigrant law firm. I'm a first-generation immigrant from Guatemala, and I have 2 little kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, who are highly spirited, super intelligent, also very demanding. So it's definitely been a juggle, and I'm really happy to share how it is that I run a law firm with all the hats that we wear as business owners and being a mom at the same time.
Perfect segue. Let's dive right into it. How do you do it? That is the question I want to know. I know I've met women. I remember my neighbor. She, had a full-time job, ran a side business, had 2 boys, she would, work full time during the day, come home, do her side business, take her kids to, sports and make dinner almost every night. And I was just like, how do you do it? And she's like, because of my kids. And, at the time, I still don't have any kids. I'm like, I come home from work and I just want to take a nap, So how do you do it? How do you, juggle the requirements of being a mom, right? And also taking care of like your clients and your business and making sure that it grows.
I just think you just do it. I mean, I don't think honestly, people ask, and I'm like, there's no, like, even today, this is like a horrible example, but it's an example. Like today, you're going to get days that just like go haywire. So like I had scheduled today, but didn't think about, my daughter's hair appointment at 2:15. And then I was like, I have this at 1. And then I had scheduled like a product shoot with Suna at 10 o'clock. So honestly, I kept her home today. I was like, I can't do it because I was going to pick her up at like 11 o'clock. And I was like, it's not going to happen. And I was like, you're going to stay home today. And I was like, you can just do virtual. And then she was like, I don't have any books this morning. And I was like, forget it. I was like, school's almost over anyways. You'll be fine. And I think you just like, you're not going to win all the time. You just do the best you can do and you get as much done during the day as you can.
I love that. I love how raw you are. And, it's, we don't always have the answers, whether it's in business or being a mom, being a parent. And so, sometimes it sounds like you just kind of have to wing it. I mean, you got to trust your instincts and stuff like that. Wanda, you look like you wanted to share something.
No, I was amening.
And you know how it is? I had to run and get her hair. Like I hadn't bought her hair because she's getting braids. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a mess.
So I'm so glad you said that. So that comment, I am a mess. Now I know you're so lighthearted and stuff. So I know you don't really feel like you're not parenting well. But for those who sometimes have days like that, but and feel frustrated or guilty, do you guys experience that, and how do you overcome that with that, that guilt of like, I got to do one or the other, or something's gonna fall through the cracks? Like, how do you handle those scenarios where things just don't go the way you plan them to go?
Well, I say you can't have it all. Like people say, oh, you can have it all. I say you can't have it all, but you can have the best parts of each part. You don't need to have it all. You can have, like today, I was able to go to my Mother's Day event at my 2-year-old daycare, and and now I'm here. And then I get clients and like, okay, so maybe I didn't get to do everything today. Maybe I won't get to work out today, but I get to have the best of everything. And then that is having it all. So you can't have it all. The best of that.
But you kind of can. I love that. So you don't need it all, but you can have the best parts of each. I love that. I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna remember that when I get overwhelmed and stuff. Like, wait, hold on. I still have the best parts. So, the role of being a mom, like Jamila, you mentioned that you started your business because of your child. And Wanda, I know you mentioned that you started your business before and then you had your child. So how did life change when you became both a mom and an entrepreneur? So, when you were a mom first, how did life change when you became an entrepreneur? If you were an entrepreneur first, how did life change when you became a mom?
I'll start. So for me, when I became an entrepreneur, or when I became a mom on this journey, it was a big adjustment for me. So there's just so many things that come with motherhood. And it's a blessing to have a partner for sure. And like I said, to have family and friends who are so willing to be so hands-on. But for me, I was telling a friend of mine yesterday that my brain fog lasted, I don't know about you ladies, but my brain fog lasted until he was maybe like 10 months. Like I thought like when we hit at my 6-week checkup, I was like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. I'm back. Like I'm here. I was not here. It was like when he hit 10 months, something happened and I was like, oh, I can critically think again. So for me, the adjustment was just, I lost motivation to hustle. I just was like, oh, I just don't want to hustle for new clients. I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to get a 9 to 5. Maybe I'll go back to it one day. And I actually got a 9 to 5. I kept the agency. I didn't tell anyone, but I got a 9 to 5 for a couple of months. And that was what I needed to be like, okay, no, I actually don't want to, do a traditional corporate job. So it was, so for me, it was about a year before I really felt back to, all the way back, ready to grow, run full speed.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. That is like so raw to me, right? Because, so I'll just share right now for the first time, I think publicly. So I'm on my journey to becoming a single mother by choice. And so that's another reason why this is so important. So I'm like diligently taking notes here. And so, I feel lately, I've been feeling kind of like not as motivated with work, right, with my business. I'm doing what I have to do, but not as motivated because I'm just like in mommy mode, right? I'm just like in mommy mode. I'm ready to be a mom, ready to start my journey, and this and that. And so my thoughts to myself is that, hopefully, what happens? Am I gonna come out of this? Am I gonna make sure that I come back and, start the hustle again and and all that stuff? So that's really encouraging that you experienced the same thing and you came out of it. So I'm going to take your lesson so I don't have to experience going back to 9 to 5. I'm just going to skip that and say, no, I know I'm going to want to make sure I focus on my business. But that is so raw. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Now, key thing that I've noticed, a couple of you guys said already, having a village, having the team. How important is it to you to have a village to help you with supporting your child? And what are some things that you do? How do you incorporate that village into your world to help you balancing and integrating work life?
I think it's critical. I mean, I'm a single mom. So and I'm not from here. I'm from Maryland. So my parents don't live down here. So it's really just me down here. But I've been able to build like a really good network down here of people who I could trust. And I ended up finding a really good babysitter who loved my daughter. And, and then I also had, I had met this woman named Regina who actually ended up living in the next community over from me when I moved out here, because I used to live in Miami. And when I first was a state attorney, she worked at the state attorney's office with me. And I'd known her for like years. She used to watch my dogs, all this madness. And then when I had my daughter, she was like, listen, she was like, you're going to want to lead. And when you want to go out at some point, and she's like, when you want to go out, you're gonna have to leave the baby with somebody. And she was like, just bring her over for like an hour at a time. Now, mine is somebody I've known and I've trusted, but she was like, bring her over for like an hour or two at a time. So when it's time for you to really have to go somewhere, you're not stressed. You're not worried about, does she know this does she know me? Do I feel comfortable with her? And so that's what I really did. I built like a network of people that I could really trust. And because to me, like being a single mom or a mom in general, like living my life is very important. So, I need to always still be able to like go to brunch, go with my girlfriends, or like take time off. Like I need mental like peace. You know what I'm saying? Like I love being a mom, but I can't be a mom 24/7. Like I'm not all into domestication. I'm not cooking dinner every night. Like I'm not doing all that, And so I would just say, like, from the beginning, make sure you have identified, and you have a big family down here. So it's just like identifying people that you're going to feel comfortable with. And and it just depends on, honestly, too, what kind of mom you want to be. Like some moms just want to be underneath their kids all the time. That's great too. But for me, that's not the life I can live, because I would not be happy. So
I love that. Yeah, I love that, because I'm going in there like, I want to be with my kid all the time. And I've had people who are like, you say that now, but you're going to want to break. You're going to want to travel and stuff like that. So, Marlene, I see you shaking your head. How is it for you? Are you, do you make time for Marlene?
Yes. So, but going a little bit back to the village part. So my parents are raising my sister's kids. So so even though I have family here, I can't really rely on them, and my husband's family isn't here at all. So it's really hard. to find those people that you trust in order for you to be able to go do things that you want to do for yourself. And like on Monday, we had like a little situation because it was my wedding anniversary and none of our usual babysitters were available. We had to find like like the backup, and it's, thankfully we have lots of backups, but it can get very expensive. It's one of those hidden costs that you don't think about. Like if you want to go out to dinner, not only are you paying for dinner and drinks,
Yes.
you also have to pay for your babysitter. So those costs add up. And anyways, but going to taking care of yourself and taking time for yourself, it's it's so important, because you will get burnt out of being in mommy mode if you do not take time to go out on a mom's night out. I just went out on a mom's night out with some moms from the daycare the other day, and it's like things I'm like, where are the mom friends to hang out with? And then it's funny because we're out at mom's night and like, you think that we're like taking a break from them, and we would not stop talking about our kids.
That is how it happens every time.
So I love this because mommies need lives. Yes, they do. And so I saw somebody posted a question the other day about how do you, stay present with your kids when you're with your kids, and like, do you feel guilty that you're still on your phone, maybe checking emails from work and things like that? And so how do you maneuver through that? And are you aware of how it happens? Does it seem like your kids are aware of what's happening? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'll kick that one off. So my kid's 2.5, but I've noticed now that if I'm, he's like, he just slaps it down, he just moves it out of the way and like tells me what he, wants to play with or wants to talk about or whatever. So when he does that, I'm like, oh, like, I check myself like, okay. And, but then sometimes it's like, this needs attention and you have to do it. So I think that if you have a lot of grace for yourself, and going kind of back to what you said earlier about, I'm going to want to be up under my kid all the time. You may, or you may not be that kind of mom. I know that when I was pregnant, my friends and I would talk about what kind of mom, I'm going to be, or when they are pregnant, what kind of mom they're going to be. And based on your personality, you kind of think like, okay, I'll probably be like this. When they come, you really get to see it, right? So Lydia, you love traveling, you love going places, talking to people, having new experiences. That's not going to go away. You're not going to be like, I don't want to have new experiences now. I just want to experience my kid, So, but you'll want to have new experiences with your kid, obviously, as well. But yeah, I think that, once you kind of figure that out, what kind of mom you're going to be, and give yourself a lot of grace. It will help when you have those moments where you're checking an email when you're like, oh, I wanted to cook tonight, or, you're doing this thing and you're like, their room looks insane. And you're just like, you know what? Their room just looks insane. I can't, like Marlene said, like I have the best of it now. So I spent time with him today. I'll clean his room on Saturday, or whatever.
Camille, thank you for sharing. It's true that, it sounds like your kids will tell you when they feel that they're lacking attention or they need more of your attention. So that's your kids. Now, what happens in a scenario where you are with your kid and stuff like that, but then you have a client that's clawing for your attention? How do you set those boundaries with your clients or customers, or, your business, and making sure that you're present for everybody, right? Because you are in a business to provide a service. So how do you manage that? Setting the boundaries, but also, when they need attention, when your customers or clients need attention.
I mean, I think that it's hard, to be honest with you. I mean, honestly, and I'll even say this about kids, your kids are never going to be satisfied with the time you give them. I mean, that's the honest truth. Like, you could spend all day, like, you could plan this amazing day with your kid, and then they're going to be like, well, what next? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the truth. Like, they're not, it's an insatiable desire. I feel like with her to go shopping, like, she always wants to buy something or go somewhere, or I could plan like a play day. We could have like a day-long play day, and then she'll be like, so what are we going to do next? I'm like, this is next. So, I'm like, we're done, so, I mean, I think it's recognizing that there's boundaries that there's moments where you have to say to yourself and put things in perspective and say, nobody's ever 100% going to be satisfied until they get what they want. And that's with a client or with your kid, with your significant other. You know, there's just only so many hours in the day and so much of yourself that you can give. And you just have to prioritize things and say, and that's what I have to do a lot of times. Like sometimes I'll be exhausted at night because I'm like going hard all day. And then at night I'll just be like, can it be done tomorrow? What anything like, what the world ends if I don't get this done right now.
Right.
And, you know, and then you just go to sleep. You know, I'm a big proponent for sleep too. I love to get my sleep. I have to have 8 hours of sleep. So, you know, and then you just shut it down. And I love Netflix. Sometimes I'm just like, I can't do it anymore. I can't research anymore. I can't look into it anymore.
Right.
And it's okay because tomorrow's a new day. Like the world's going to go on. Nothing's going to end because somebody didn't get your time, regardless of who it is.
So, oh my God, that sleep part touched my heart because I love my sleep.
Yeah,
I need my beauty rest. Yeah. And so now whenever I sleep and I kind of feel guilty, like, oh, I should be up doing something. I'm like, you know what? When this baby comes, I'm not going to have any of this. So let me enjoy the sleep while I can, sleeping in an extra hour. So.
And you're never going to, and you'll probably get like I say now, like I probably sleep until 10 o'clock, like once a year. I don't even think and it has to be something like maybe I went out, even when I go out, which I don't even go out late at night anymore. Cause I'm like, I have to be in bed by like 10:30.
Exactly. I totally get that. So Marlene, a little bit about your experience as far as like, you know, because you're an immigration attorney. I don't know why I'm studying on my words. You know, it sounds like it can be really demanding. So how do you juggle that? And then let's keep in mind, like this whole thing is talking about, you know, work-life integration, right? So how do you integrate, you know, motherhood, your children's lives and stuff into work, or how does one impact the other for you?
So, like going back to this like boundaries with clients thing, sort of, one of the things that I've done is I don't have email notifications on my phone.
That's a good one.
So sometimes my emails get really backed up because I don't get notifications for my emails because I do not want to be like constantly looking at the notifications. And I also don't have the little red bubble on there telling me how many emails I have, right? Because I want to look at it. Right. So the way this started was clients are very like, oh, did you send out my thing today? Did you send out my thing today? And we have time to send it out, so it doesn't have to be sent out today. And sometimes if it's a client that's detained for me, it can be a little more, more. But I have staff. I try to delegate as much as I can, not only in my business life but in my personal life. I have a cleaning lady. I have, and that, in the beginning when you're starting a business, that was not an option I had. But, as you grow, and in order for you to grow, you do have to invest a little bit. And sometimes I think, am I making money while I'm washing dishes?
Right.
Would I pay someone to do this so that I am actually making more money doing something else? And sometimes I'm like, you know what? The dishes can just stay in the sink for a little bit longer.
That's how I feel. And that's a good point too, having a good significant other, because I mean, sometimes like we're all responsible for the house. Like you could bust a dish just like I can wash a dish too. But I'm here for the cleaning lady. I've always had a cleaning lady, even when I was single. I'm like, I'm not. And honestly, it's like you have to know yourself. Like I'm not a domestic, period. Like since I was even single and in my 20s, like I'm not. That's just not something I thrive at.
I love how we're kind of redefining the role of a woman. And, it's like you're having to be the one to do dishes or whatever the case may be, but having someone who can support you, being really honest with yourself. Like, I'm not the one to do dishes. I'm not the one to cook every day. I say it all the time. I joke around when I see like those videos about recipes on social media. Like my first thought is, who can I send this video to so they can make this for me? Because I know who I am. I'm not making anything, right? But Marlene, I want to circle back on something that you said as far as in your business, having the right staff and investing in staff, because we talked about having the village in your personal lives, right? Your family, your friends to help you with your kid. But how about that village within your business, right? So, if you could talk a little bit about that, or, I believe all you guys have, like, your staff and stuff. So, tell us a little bit about that, about juggling that village that's going to help your business grow while also having that village that helps your child grow.
Right. So I have this, I guess maybe not completely correct to say, but I have a preference for hiring women. So women that I think are going to be a little more understanding towards my personal issues and like why I can't maybe be on top of them all the time. I also, when I hire people, I like to hire people that are kind of newbies and that I can help them understand that this is not going to be your typical law firm that you're going to work at. This is going to be I'm a mom, and this is a family environment, and my clients are families. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna all support each other. And if you have to go do something with your parents, or you have to, and so I'm flexible, and I expect that same flexibility of them with me. Even though I'm the boss, sometimes they're like, you have to sign this, and you have to review this, and you have to, and that, and sometimes they tell me you have to be a little bit on top of me too, because I am juggling all these things. So I think, finding people that are flexible is important. Finding people that are caring is very important. So that's how I do my hiring. I try to find people that understand. And actually I have my assistant that works in my home. And, sometimes she has to go drop off the baby. Right. And she's flexible with that. And I tell them, look, this is not your typical law firm. And if you want somewhere where it's like a family, this is the right place for you to work.
I love it. I love that each of you guys really are defining your whole existence. Like, you are, really being clear about what your desires are, and you're making your business run the way that that complements your personal life, and also your personal life to complement all your other endeavors. And so, anyone who's paying attention, who feels like, okay, what's the model? Like, what books should I read to do this? And I think what I'm getting from each of you guys, including myself, is that you can literally define your life and make your way and do things your way, and trusting in yourself, to be clear about trusting in yourself to believe that, hey, this is perfectly attainable, but then also that you're going to find the right people around you that will help you support that, as well as being able to support them. And just being women, we're so nurturing. I love the fact that you said, hey, look, yes, this is what I tell my staff. Like, hey, I have a kid, I have, my family and stuff, but I also respect that you have a family as well. And I get it. So let's talk about a little bit about that as like that reciprocity with your team. And you mentioned hiring women. I'm kind of guilty of that too. I just, and no offense to men, if it's just, I feel like we get each other, right? And so actually, I do want to get into like the unique challenges that we have as women, and it'd probably be a whole separate webinar that I'll do just solely on that, whether you're a mom or not. But being a mom, right? I can tell you, like, one of the things I felt guilty about, so as I mentioned to you guys, for those who are just joining in, that I'm on the journey of being a single mom by choice. And I really changed the whole dynamics of my firm, and kind of stepped away from being really, really involved in tax season. And that was really the catalyst, was knowing that I want to be a mom and I wanted to have more flexibility. But at the same time, I started to feel guilty. I asked myself, am I setting women back by saying, because I want to be a mom, I had to give up some of my work or my business. And, I felt like women fought so hard to be able to have it all. And I kind of felt guilty about that. And so the way I kind of got around that was just saying, as you all are doing, is, hey, look, I define the way my life is going to be, and it's okay. So, so talking about like guilt and stuff, when you do take time for your kids, do you feel any kind of guilt as far as like, are you maximizing, are you taking your business to the next level? Do you feel like you have to give up a little bit of one for the other?
I think that one of the things that Marlene said in the beginning, which was you can have the best of all of the things that you want. So while you can't necessarily have it all, you can have the most important pieces of each of those things. One of the things that, and I am guilty of this. I was just talking to a friend of mine about this the other day, that before I had a child and I worked at a traditional job, I just, for people that had children, I was like, I think that's amazing. I think that's beautiful. We have tasks here that need to get done. And then I realized that, a lot of people will say, you have a child, she is a sick parent, she has a dog, so it's like, no. A child is a child, multiple children. It is its own unique, special circumstance. Never let anyone tell you, just like you have a child, I have a this. If you don't got a child, you just don't. It's a special thing. You're molding them. It's a human that you're growing. You grew it in your body, someone else grew it in their body, whatever it is, you are shaping this person. And that is a very special and unique circumstance. And if you value your motherhood journey then it's to be taken seriously. And, it's don't, like I said before, you have to have a lot of grace for yourself and not get caught up in trying to keep up with what other people are doing, who don't have children, or who don't have to set their lives up in this way, because they don't have children. So,
right.
So I think that, it just takes a lot of grace, and it takes a lot of understanding and patience for yourself to say, okay, I have a child now. And that is something that's unique and special and different from maybe what other people have. Not to diminish what they have that,
right.
Calls their attention in their personal life, but a child is a very specific and special set of demands.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You said you're molding a whole new person that's going to engage in society. And so, it can't be compared to any of those other things. Like a parent, of course, we want to take care of our parents, but they've been molded. They're adults. They can take care of themselves, right? and pets, don't get me started on that. When people who pretend like their pets are like our kids. It's two different things, guys. And I like pets, but two different things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the journey of entrepreneurship just has its ups and downs in general. Yeah. So where I started at with the salon, I think eventually in anything that you do, you pivot, because nothing can remain constant. So I think that, when you were talking about guilt, there's guilt, not necessarily even related to my daughter, but sometimes there's just guilt in am I giving my all to the salon, or am I giving my all to my legal career, or I give my all, to the brand that I'm launching. And so I think what Marlene was saying was really important, is that you have to put systems in place and put people in place on your team that you can say, I did my job setting up the salon. Now I can't necessarily be there every day, but I'm still hustling on the back end. So I know that I'm still scheduling education. I still do the social media. I still take out the ads. I make sure the inventory stock, they get paid. So it's you don't necessarily your roles pivot. I remember when for a long time I never even traveled or did anything. And I never even had a weekend to myself because I was at the salon going hard, and Magnolia was right there with me. And then, you start to learn a system and learn what makes your business tick. Mm-hmm. And then you pivot, and then you may say I want to take the business to this level, or I want to do something different. And you learn how to make that work. And then you just keep, that's what the whole entrepreneurship game is about, is pivoting and evolving. That's what I always say.
It sounds a lot to me that I right after we just said, do not compare having a kid to anything else, I'm going to compare having a kid to having your business, right? Your kid, it feels like your business is kind of like your child as well, right? So the same things that you're going to go through with your kids, as far as being able to pivot and things may happen, same thing happens with your business. And so having those two, integrating those two, and I'll back up, because I had a conversation with a friend just yesterday, and he was stressing the importance of having structure for your kids, right? So having and so running a business, things can be unpredictable, right? And yes. So when things do happen in your business, and you're thinking about, you're factoring certain things to make a decision, how big is the role of motherhood in your child in the factors that make up that will help you with the decision on what to do with your business, and vice versa.
And for me, so one of the things that we have been good about, and it could go out the window any minute, but right now we're very good about Juan Roosevelt's bedtime. And it was a game changer for our family. Like we did the sleep training thing. It doesn't work for everyone. Everyone doesn't like the methods and things like that. It's all, whatever. But for us, it worked. He goes down at 8. We have time for each other. We may want to do, last minute work things. We might just want to watch a movie. So it's like from 5:30 when he gets picked up to 8, I don't have time for anyone but him and my husband and our dog and what we have going on in our house. And then after that, I can call my girlfriends. I can have some wine. I can do whatever I want. I can, just do whatever. But so for us, that structure has been important. And then, having childcare has been important. So I think about those things like, can I go to this conference? Oh, this conference happens while he's at school. I can go. Can I go to this, Wednesday night ladies thing? Sure, because it happens at this time, or no, because it happens at this time. So when I can predict what'll happen in my home life, it helps me be able to make decisions on this.
Right. Daisy, to your comment, that's exactly what my friend was saying, is that someone just made a comment about all kids desire or to crave that structure. So, you mentioned obviously your practical sense and stuff like that. So what are some other, practical steps that people who are entrepreneurs and going to be moms, or people who are moms and going to be entrepreneurs, what are some practical steps in terms of finding your village? Jamila, I love that you share that you don't really have your family here. Marlene, you mentioned you have a big family. Juan, I know you have your husband and your family and stuff. What are some practical steps to, find that village, and what does that village look like for you, right? Again, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a relative, but what does that village look like for you? And what are some things that you think about in terms of choosing who's in your village?
I mean, I just went with people I'd known for a long time. So I had, people that I've known, and then I've had people, like I have a really good friend named Rhonda, and she knew what it was like to be a single mom. So she always, I love her to death, because a lot of times when you're a single mom, people don't think and especially when you don't have family, she may not have anybody to celebrate Mother's Day with her, or she may not have anybody, for her birthday, because, there becomes a point where you're not out and about, you're hustling hard for your business and you're also raising your child. So you're not out kicking it or doing all this stuff. And, I had started walking with her when I first had my daughter, and we just remained. And at that time when I had my daughter, I was with the father, but then I wasn't. And she just never forgot about me. She would always, every Mother's Day, be like, Jamila, it's Mother's Day. What do you want to do? Let's go to brunch. Or it's your birthday. She made sure I was never ever felt like I was alone, because people's lives go on and not everybody has kids, and so your life is changing, but other people's lives aren't necessarily changing the same way. So, I mean, you're going to develop friendships. Even my neighbor, she helps out. She has a little girl, Magnolia, and her daughter are the same age. And I didn't even find her. My dad found her. My dad comes in town, and he comes in town for 2 months at a time. And he would see her behind the house, and he was like, you got, he ended up coordinating the play date, the original play date. So, it's just really finding, people that you can trust. And, even at the daycare, a lot of the teachers are going to babysit on the side, asking your friends, who do you use? Do you like them? Things of that nature. And just finding people in your community that are really, really, really not just if you ever want to go out, but then they don't really mean it, but people who really are invested and stay around for a long time, who really are invested in you and your child.
I would agree with that. For us, we have, so Juan Roosevelt's godparents, we haven't known them. We've known them for maybe, I don't know, since I've lived in Miami. but they are like God. I mean, this is like God placed them in, like placed us in each other's lives. They have 3 girls, and they always joke that like, well, we don't need a son now. Like we have Rue. So it's nice, and it's just such it's really important. I look through my phone all the time and see funny pictures of me with their kids, and then cute pictures of our son with them. So I agree that my in-laws are local, which is very nice, and has been really nice. But having friends who really, like you said, you trust and that mean it, not just the people that are like, oh, when you have a baby, you can come on, right? But like people. I have a couple of friends that are like, when he's potty trained, I'm your person.
Yeah,
so
writing down a name.
But important. And then also finding things. I have a friend, my best friend, she's in DC, and she has this like mom village, and they have events, like they have happy hours that you can like take the kids to, and it's I how to do this in Miami. And they have it set up and it makes sense and whatever. Obviously you're not going to get like,
right,
lit and then drive on. But it's just nice to have a cocktail, talk to your friends, and then the kids are off with activities and doing things. And so I think finding your mom village, and then also, like you said, your business village, and in a way that the things can integrate, that things can make sense, that if I am doing something on the side, how can I take my kids? How can I incorporate them in these things? I think is important for looking for things that will take up your time, but maybe actually give time back to your family.
I love it. So I knew this was going to happen. I'm so engulfed in this conversation. I'm totally lost track of time. And I'm like, we have 3 more minutes left. But okay, so one last question. I'm going to open it to anybody in watching live if you want to post any questions. So this is like one question, 2 parts kind of. Are your kids involved in your business? And do you think your kids will take over your business when you want to retire and stuff like that? So basically leaving that legacy. How involved do you think your kids are, or how likely do you think they're going to, move forward with your business?
I'll start. So I don't want my kids to be lawyers.
I'm with you on that one. Me and the whole legal thing are like, no go.
Don't go to law school.
Yes.
But if they want it, I mean, my firm will be here, right? So my kids like to participate in my TikToks. I do a lot of TikTok lives for work. And they love to come in the background to say hello to everybody, or sometimes cry in the background. But it's funny because my 5-year-old will be like, "Oh, your clients? Oh!" And the cutest thing is when I tell him that I get people out of detention, and being detained, and I'm like, "Oh, I kind of try to explain it in 5-year-old terms." He's like, "Mom, you're the best. You're helpful."
Oh, that's sweet.
So,
I love that.
I mean, he's 5, and the 2-year-old doesn't know yet, except that they know how to cry every time I cry.
Right.
They would be like around in the background, like mommy, right? But
and Jamila, I know Magnolia helps you with like your inventory and stuff. So
no,
and she's
she gets it. Yeah, Magnolia's like, she gets it 100% about customer service, the salon. She has dolls, she has mannequins, she does their hair. Even when she used to go to the salon with me, she used to be at the salon with me all the time. Like, I always say nothing in life is for free. So that means like when we're at the salon, I need you to sweep up. I need you to make sure things are wiped down, things are together. Like even at the house when I pack orders, I'm like, all right, read off of Shopify what order needs to be packed. Like, because I want her to know. I ideally would love for her to just go out and run her own business from the start and have an idea of what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. And I mean, like, I hope I can eventually even have enough time where I'm able for her to brainstorm and come up with her own ideas, and maybe we could start something. Like, I had a candle bar at one point, like last year, and she had started like a slime company. So I'm all about really having her, and I would even explain to her, like when she was like, we were doing the slime class and she was like wanting to participate. I'm like, listen, you are using your product. I'm like, all this stuff costs money, you know, just explaining to her about the importance of, you know, completing a job. Like, you're here to teach, you're here to assist. If you're in here, you're not paying attention to somebody else who may need assistance, and this is your business. So, you know, I really just, I love it. I mean, she's been around from the beginning, and she's learned so much about business. Like, if you have a conversation with her, she's like on point. She knows how to answer the phone. Like,
oh, wow. Well, you know, the part of her playing with the slime, you know, she has to understand the customer journey as well in order to, I'm just helping her out. I'm trying to help her out. She has to understand, you know, she has to be part of it. She has to know the customer journey.
yes.
So Juana, your baby's only 2, but I've seen him on, you know, video conferences and stuff like that. He's so cute. And so he may be too young, but do you think he'll go his dad's route, being an attorney, or mom's route, being creative?
So, unlike you two attorneys, my husband is like, one day it'll be Jones.
Oh, so he loves it. He loves it.
So we'll see. Right now he's a numbers kid. He's like real into numbers. So we'll see how that manifests itself. But like you said, Jamila, it's important for me that he sees, you know, he just grows up seeing it. So I already have ideas based on his little favorite things of businesses I want to try to get him into. My niece was here last summer, and she was like, oh, I was like, if you had a business, what would it be? A slime company. I said, okay, let's come up with logos. Let's come up with a slogan, you know, so just kind of planting those seeds in the kids in my life. And, you know, especially my son. So hopefully, you know, we'll get him in here. Maybe he'll come up with a couple of designs in the next few years.
I'm sure he will. These kids are so smart. They are so smart.
Yeah. So I'm going to open it if there's anyone who has questions, anyone in the audience watching live, if you have any questions. I know there's a little bit of delay, so we'll give them a few seconds. And I also, you know, obviously with your permission, sharing your tag, or I'm so bad with social media. What was it called again? Your header, your name
handles.
Yeah.
Your handles. I knew it was the H. I was like, hashtag no. Your handles, right? So, you know, I'll keep my eye to see if there's any questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and have your handles show up on the screen so people can get your information and be able to ask you questions. But ladies, is there anything else before we sign off? Just like your number one tip that you would give to a new entrepreneur, new mom in the making? What would be the number one tip that you share?
I just say make yourself happy.
I like that. I would say have grace for yourself.
Love it.
Absolutely. Those two things are so important. I think the same, right?
Right. Yeah. Those were like my biggest takeaways of having the village and showing yourself grace. Right. I think as women, we've been told like you have to fight for this. You have to work extra hard and do all this stuff. And so the days that we're tired or days we can't just perform everything, then we start to feel guilty or like subpar. So for me, the biggest thing lately was just showing, having grace and showing yourself grace. So thank you so much, ladies. I have like my notes and stuff like that. So I will be reaching out directly for some questions as I embark on my journey. And Daisy, thank you so much for that comment about being a great topic. I think it's just so timely, and I think it's so important. It's so good for mompreneurs out there to really know that you're not alone. We're all figuring it out, and but the fun part, the exciting part about figuring it out is that you do have the ability to make it your own and do that. So thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate this. And so happy Mother's Day. Do you guys have Mother's Day plans?
Yes.
I don't.
So this is one of those things, like if your husband or significant other is watching, that we need plans for Mother's Day.
Yes. I plan to lay on the couch and watch Netflix. That's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, look at that. Daisy has nanny service. Look at Look at that. Look at that. Our village. We're already working in that village. Thank you,
Exactly.
So, again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Rylan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your insights, ladies. And we're going to go ahead and put your handles, you just said it, on the screen. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, you guys have your handles. Actually, I didn't realize that in your logo. So thank you so much, ladies. And I hope we can speak. I feel like this is a conversation I go on for days. So we'll definitely do this again later on. And maybe I'll have more insight, having gone through my journey and stuff like that. Or I guess you never really go through it. It's never ending. It just keeps going. But I thank you so much, and have a beautiful and wonderful Mother's Day. I'm actually going to reach out to you guys individually, make sure I can send you a little gift by Sunday. And and that's it. I'm going to let you guys go on through your day. Thank you so much. I know you're so busy. Give your kids big hugs and kisses on behalf of Auntie Lydia. And I'm happy to be part of your village as well. I'm definitely incorporating you all into my village. And I thank you so much. And I want you guys to have a wonderful day and a wonderful Mother's Day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.